You like that? Compliments of Parks on the Air. And my freehand drawing on the compass. You like the little birds? Okay. These slides are actually presented by POTA. During Hamvention, I went to the POTA presentation that they did, and they were kind enough to give me their entire 2 presentations worth of Parks on the Air PowerPoint decks. They have been edited locally by me with some help from my other POTA friends, W0TLM, and something Echo, Kilo Zero Echo Zulu Echo. Yeah, that's right. Almost forgot that call sign. So it's based solely really on what Parks on the Air presented and my own experience with Parks on the Air. So your additional comments, anything you want, feel free to interrupt and let me know. And I'll just say, we'll get to that in the next couple of slides. All right, so Parks on the Air. It was started by a team of volunteers just after the 2016 National Parks on the Air, celebrating the 100th anniversary, the centennial of national parks. A bunch of DX expeditioners, field day, all of that is all kind of rolled into one. And it's basically for you to get on the radio out in the great outdoors. So why should you want to do this? It's fun. It's addicting. Some things never get old. So thanks for the new one as far as making contact to a new park. Thanks for activating. Thanks for the park to park. And ATNO, all-time new one. And thanks to my best friend, Michael McGinnis, Kilo Zero Echo Zulu Echo, who I don't know how many contacts we got between each other. We're over 200 between each other. And that's not QSOs, that's parks, right? QSOs, okay. And he is infamous for finding all-time new parks. Hopefully he'll be able to tell us a little bit about that. But this is him over at Browns Canyon. Why do you want to do it? It's easy. Even a duck can do it. N1DUC is Junie. She used to be in Connecticut. She's now down in Mississippi. You can hunt from your home shack, parked in your chair, not necessarily parked out in the air. Mochi is usually along with her, and Mochi will quack at you when you're making a contact, if she's there. And then this is me set up with my Wolford recoil at Cheyenne Mountain State Park. So why should you do this? Conditions are just better. First time I activated, I used my ICOM 7300. I thought there was something wrong with the radio because the waterfall screen was blank. I mean, the only thing on there were signals from other stations. No noise, no backsplatter, nothing like that. Usually you're going to have low noise conditions. You'll have unique challenges. Michael? I think my comment to you on, are you in the middle of nowhere? And I think he came back, no, I'm at nowhere. And it is definitely more picturesque than you staring at your ham shack walls. And you will, maybe not there, but if you're in a park, people are going to come by and talk to you. They're going to say, what is you doing? Not so much with me, because I'm usually on a headset with a mic. But if I'm off the headset and they hear all the little chatter in the background, they'll draw a crowd. And parked like I was at Cheyenne Mountain State Park, I drew the attention of a park ranger. So you can earn certificates. Now we're not all, excuse me, necessarily paper chasers, but Mr. McGinnis here, or Are we pretty accurate on that still, or you haven't been out since that one, right?
I haven't been out since Thursday.
I think I got this right. Michael has activated 260 different parks. Okay, and he has over close to 12,000 QSOs. Just people talking back and forth to him when he's on Parks on the Air. You want to have a pile up? Yep. Yep. And then you get all these nice little awards down here.
You get an award for everything.
Yeah,
What's the joke, Bob?
if you sneeze on the air, you get a POTA certificate. But you have to have a response. Somebody has to say, bless you. Then you get a certificate. All right. So it is not a contest. You may be on some bands, 18 meter, for example, and there'll be some curmudgeons out there saying, you can't contest on this band. We're not contesting. We're calling CQ. Yes, you get certificates, but you really don't. So, excuse me, I hate these allergies. Two terms you really need to know about Parks on the Air, and we'll define them first. First is an activator, and the activator for Parks on the Air is the person out there in the park, National Forest. Here we have Tricia, Kilo Zero Tango Romeo Delta at US 1247 Sylvan Lake, Colorado. Is this still your favorite activation? It's my favorite picture for POTA. And as a hunter, you're just hunting them, literally. I mean, you're putting out your call sign and getting a response back. So like Michael will be calling CQ, I'll go Whiskey Zero Hotel Tango Hotel.
Whiskey Zero Hotel Tango Hotel, you are 5'9" in Park US 10800 in Wyoming. QSL.
QSL. Roger, Michael. Good to talk to you again. I have you 5'7", Charlie Oscar, 5'7", Colorado.
Thank you for 5'7" and from Colorado. Whiskey Zero Hotel Tango Hotel, Kilo Zero Echo Zero 73.
QRZ. And then the next 35 people try to get through. But I just love this picture. I mean, that is a true dedicated Parks on the Air activator, because you got to see the wire here. This is taller than her.
Is this a sales pitch? Because you're really failing here.
It's a sales pitch, so that is still, to date, my favorite activation, even though it was hot. It was cold, it snowed, the wind blew. I activated from inside the cab.
There's no cell service.
No, there was no cell service. I could barely get out a text using APRS because I couldn't hit a digit here.
And that's how we found her. She texted us through APRS, and
through about 20 minutes later.
yeah, and then that's how I worked her up there from Black Forest.
Yeah.
So
the snow was so bad it fogged up all my windows. There was snow ice on the outside of the windows. I couldn't see the antenna. So I kept just asking my pilot, "Is it still up?"
Am I still there? So their rules are few and simple. Follow the law. In other words, the FCC rules. My big thing, the DX Code of Conduct. And that just, I do that. Follow the golden rule. And if you're an activator, you do have to register on the POTA app. If you're a hunter and don't care about getting all that wallpaper stuff, you don't have to register. Okay? But if you're an activator, you do. And you and your equipment must be in the park. I have one activation that I don't get credit for because the only spot for this state wildlife area in Michigan was under, you know, the Megatron type electrical wires. I couldn't even turn on my radio from the noise. So I kept riding around. I found a cemetery. I went through the cemetery. And at the back end of the cemetery, it was right where the fence to that state wildlife area was. So I tromped through the grass, put up my antenna, got back in my vehicle, did my POTA activation, and then found out my entire unit had to be in the park, not just me transmitting. So I was honest and did not get credit. There are a lot of people who probably don't care. But I wanted to be honest because I bragged about it to somebody and I was told that. That's not an activation, you know. Okay, Trish, yeah, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry. So, and then you have to submit an ADIF file to Parks on the Air after your activation is over. So more of how it works, you have to be in a property owned by a state, provincial, or federal/national agency. So Parks on the Air is not going to be at Fox Run Regional Park. That's county park. And the reason why are Parks on the Air is a database managed by database managers who are volunteers. And to go down past the state level is just a database nightmare for them to monitor and put up parks. Now, recently they have gotten more state wildlife areas, more state fish hatcheries, things like that, and some national ones. But
other countries recognize other types of parks.
Yeah, we'll get to that slide. I told you. Yeah, so there's entities too. And I have worked all entities in one location. They have one park, Sable Island, Nova Scotia. So no city parks or lands. Check the official agency website. I have the National Park Service app on my phone. I can see what's there. And if I'm at a national park, typically I'll walk into the visitor center if it's close by and tell them I'm going to be activating. And they go, you know, what do you mean ham radio? Okay, don't worry about it. I'll be in the parking lot. You know, they have no idea. But a ranger will stop by and say, what are you doing? And then you kind of put the pile up on hold. You know, you're telling them, hey, wait a second, got a park ranger here. And then all the hunters out there they'll still be calling, and there's guys that'll break in and say, he's talking to the park ranger, stand by. He's talking to the park ranger. We'll hold the frequency. Really friendly people out there. Really are. And then just have fun. Next slide. DX entities. For my friends in the Netherlands, over here are all the parks in the Netherlands. There's all the parks in England.
The Netherlands is a park.
I stand corrected. So the POTA app, and it's not an app on your phone, okay? The app is a domain. So it's POTA.app on your website when you go in. That's where you use that in your browser. Don't look for it in the App Store on your phone. It's not there, okay? You go there and you sign up. It's pretty easy. ParksOnTheAir.com website is the, excuse me, POTA homepage, and they got a lot of extensive information, a lot of PDF docs on there, how to get started. They'll walk you through every step of the process. So here, this is the ParksOnTheAir.com. They have maps of the different entities here in the U.S. as well as internationally. Program volunteers, different awards that they have, how to get started, and what they're going to tell you on how to get started is go to the POTA.app and you go to doc's homepage. Let me get this again. So this is the document's homepage, and here again you can get started. Tells you how to register. There's all kind of links in here. What they've done as far as the progression over the last few years has really, there's no excuse not to do Parks on the Air. I mean, it is, they really literally take you by the hand and get you right through there.
Even a lowly amateur has done it.
A lowly advanced amateur.
One activation, one.
And we got proof of that. He has one activation, but he is an avid hunter. Well over 1,000 parks hunted, right? Trying to catch up to me. So, a lot of social media with Parks on the Air. They do have Discord, Facebook, Slack. Don't ask me because I don't do social media. Sorry. And those membership in those groups is open to anybody who's registered at the Parks on the Air website. So let's walk through a day in the life of a Parks on the Air, a POTA flow. Here's our little activator, just smiling, happy, ready to go out. And they're going to use the map that's on the Parks on the Air website. All these little yellow dots are parks, national forest, some location with a designator. They used to be designated for the United States Kilo-4401, Pikes National Forest. 4404. 4404, Pikes National Forest. And now it's US-4404 is Pikes National Forest. They've gone through basically complying with international standards using the DX entities designators as the first two digits of the park. So like a park in Germany will be Delta Echo Dash 1234. You know, and you'll see a lot of parks when you're on the website for Costa Rica, Mexico, they're on there a lot. What I and my cohorts have recommended is that you get one of these. This is a gazetteer or gazetter, all right? They run about $25, $29, but the maps in here are unbelievable. They're great, especially when you're out looking at parks. You're going to get a yellow dot for the Arapahoe National Forest. So if we go to the Arapahoe National Forest, you'll see over here is a trail. This little, won't let me do that. But this, along this yellow line here, I can't zoom in enough anymore. You'll see this little red. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Or use the laser pointer on the mouse.
But, so I zoomed in here to the Arapahoe National Forest, one park. With the gazetteer, you're able to see the Continental Divide National Scenic Trail. This little red dotted line that, exit 218 on I-70. I'll pull over there, activate, and I have a twofer. I've activated two parks, the National Trail as well as the Arapahoe National Forest. So
everybody gets credit for two details. They get two parts. So the hunters get two parts
and Wyoming.
There's a place in Wyoming, Bridger,
Yeah, Bridger State Park.
It's a five-year, because you have the Mormon Trail, the,
California Trail,
the Oregon Trail,
Trail,
the Pony Express Trail,
and Bridger.
and the park itself. And, because they all went right through there, those trails, the Pony Express, all those, followed that route. And the Bridger Station, Fort Bridger was the point.
Was the point, yeah.
Stopped over in the wagon train to the horseback. So that's a five.
What was that first park I got? California, Oregon, Pony Express, and
And
Bridger. Oh, Mormon
Mormon.
Trail, and Bridger State Park, right?
Fort Bridger.
Fort Bridger.
And I've actually found a spot in the northern Wyoming up in the Wind River range that's its sister.
Oh.
Wait to go back to it.
So if you go to Bent's Old Fort, out by La Junta, it's a twofer. Bent's Old Fort is a national park, and the Santa Fe Trail goes through Bent's Old Fort. So you get credit for 2 parks. If I hunt you there, I get 2 parks. If you log in both of them. I've hunted a couple people, and I said, are you also activating US 1234? No. And I go, well, where are you at? I'm at the state park. I said, well, only because I activated that park. I said, do you know the Pony Express Trail goes right through that? No. And it's right along Interstate 80 in Nebraska. And depending what side of the river you're on, you have the state fishing area, I think it's called, in Nebraska, and you have the California Trail, or you got Pony Express Trail. Yeah.
you said you had to be physically in the park. You have to be physically on a trail, or
It's 100 yards,
Within
100 feet.
is the official rule. But some of these trails, like going across Nevada, for instance, there's no way of knowing that the wagon trains were going like right here. They might have been on the other side of the river. I mean, if your intent is pure and you think your road trail is, or you got a map that says you were on the trail, then that's good enough.
so you don't go off the guardrails that kept the wagon.
Definitely no.
There are some that you can see the wagon ruts still on there. But that's why, again, I go back to that map, because going to that page in the map, I got a good idea where I am on that little red dotted line. Especially at exit 218 on I-70. Here I am. Cumbres and Toltec Railroad at the peak of Cumbres Pass is on the Continental Divide Trail.
And the Rio Grande National Park.
So there. So like I said, that to me, that's part of the fun, is finding out where I'm at. Did that come out wrong? I'm not sure about that. All right. So that's just another, in addition to, just going to the website and having your little map and saying, oh, I'm going to go to this yellow dot. Well, that yellow dot is just an approximation. So you really do need another map, to get on there. POTA, excuse me. POTA suggests that as an activator, you post on the website when you're going to activate. I got 3 heads going like this. I've never done it.
The upside of doing that is if you are CW, you can actually use the ribbon if you already have a post put up and you call CQ via CW. It will pick you up and it will spot you. But you have to already have that scheduled.
Oh.
There is no program like that for SSB that I know of.
Yeah. And no, I have not used Onyx Maps except when I'm hunting, Robert. Sorry about that. So next, you go to your little happy vehicle there. Let's say Kilo Zero Tango Romeo Delta. Oh, okay. So jump in your little vehicle and you head out to a park. And once you're there, you get your portable station set up. Could be as simple as using the mobile gear in your vehicle, put out an antenna, go back in your vehicle. Keeps my wife happy because all I have to do now is screw this antenna on the roof rack. Come on. With this mount. Mounts my roof rack. We travel happily along the road. She has now even gotten to the point, oh, here's a sign for a state park. You want to go in there? And as a husband of 52 years, I answer as I traditionally do, yes, dear. So, it could be easy. It could be pretty extensive. Again, what do you want to do in the park? How long do you want to be there? Are you on a road trip? You're going to make 15 contacts and we're done? Or you're going to sit at a park bench for a couple, 3, 4 hours or all day? Okay? Just make sure you stick to the park rules. There may be, again, going to their websites, you find out I can't put anything up in a tree. I activated 4 corners last year, I think. I had no problems at all. A few days later, another activator emailed me and said, did you ever get hassled by a ranger at 4 corners? Oh, no. Of course, 4 corners is neat because you get 4 states. Okay? And he said the ranger told him he needed a permit to broadcast on his radio. And he had to go to the Navajo, and this is Navajo Reservation. All right? Even though it's a national monument. So, Yatahe, yes, sir, I will do what you say, but you had to go 100 miles to get your permit. So, it just kind of depends on you and the ranger. Nobody asked me, but I had my Wolf River coil set up in back of my Lincoln Navigator, so maybe nobody saw it. I don't know. Then, here's the fun part, getting spotted. You'll come up on a spot page. You might call CQ. You might text a friend, email a friend, depending if you have cell coverage. The key things, or like if you have cell phone coverage, you can certainly spot yourself on this. And always remember to check your universal time, UTC time, and date. You need 10 QSOs in a day in order to have that park activated. I have, and I know Michael has, gone into the next UTC day. New log. If you don't have your 10 today, UTC time, they don't carry over to tomorrow UTC time. So get there, keep your eye on when that happens. It's not a contest, so there's no right way to call CQ. Most operators just do CQ POTA, Whiskey Zero Hotel Tango Hotel, calling CQ from Uniform Sierra 4404. Crickets. Call again. So it depends on what mode you're operating on and how you can get out there. Then you have to get your ADIF file. I know a couple of us use HAMRS, also known as Hammers. So I do a written log. Tricia does written logs, handwritten logs. Michael still does, and then we convert them over to computer format. And then we upload the ADF file. I forgot about him. You will run into a couple of those guys on your, they've read that book. But how many people don't know what a lid is? Okay, lid is lowly advanced talk for ham radio operators who are discourteous. They read that book. I activated the Bosque Oso State Wildlife Area every year when I go hunting down there. And I always get a pilot because it's rarely activated. And back to the DX Code of Conduct. I got 40 people talking at once, and I hear a weak station from Louisiana. I go, station ending in Echo, Louisiana, please come back. Don't get mad. November Charlie 0, Juliet Whiskey. I ignore them. Station ending in Echo, please come back. November Charlie 0, Juliet Whiskey. That's a lid. Okay?
I think you would define a lid as a poor operator.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. P-O, poor operator. I got P-O'd. That's what it stands, P-O stands for that, right?
And that isn't right, because Alf was a better
So,
Alf a lid.
so then he starts chattering away, right? And finally, I got a break, and the guy I was trying to work, QRP station out of Louisiana, 5 watts, I worked him, and I said, guys, I'm sorry, I'm quitting. I'm going QRT, you know who's to blame. Boom! All of a sudden, like 10 guys are on this guy, calling him a lid this, lid that, and he said, well, he thinks he's God. He can pick out who he wants. And you go, he is. He's the one calling CQ. And what other famous quote I got from Miss TRD? Can you imagine what that is? Pile up, first pile up. I caused that. I did that. So then you get your little awards. And again, more wallpaper there. So POTA is great for clubs too. Now, we do not participate as a club in POTA. We haven't explored that yet, but it might be a lot of fun for us. And this is TRD with JW. So basically, operating POTA as a club is the same thing as operating as an individual. You need a club account. So you got to sign up as a club, need a couple of club members to go out, take some new folks, operate on the air. Now, we have done that with individuals. That's how I got involved with Parks on the Air. Tricia was kind enough to take me out, get my first activation with her. I was hooked. And same thing, Jim is activated with her. He didn't get hooked though. He likes being.
You got to realize that for many, many years, working in the broadcast industry and working with NASCAR, I would have to go out and set up radios, and every day was a field day at my work. So this takes me back to my work environment, and I don't want to go there.
See, we don't think of it as work. We still think of it as having fun. See, so.
Has Tricia ever activated when there was actually like grass on the ground?
I had that one.
Always snow.
I had that one picture of her. That's that one picture. Yeah.
There was open water. It was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So make sure you have the right UTC date. You don't cross the date line. Have your call sign. Know what band you're going to operate on, your mode, and your park designator. And you can operate single sideband, CW, digital. You can go on 2 meters, AM, FM, and you can do RTTY, packet radio, digital FT8, whatever you'd like. So you can operate any mode you want.
You should also know your county and
Oh.
your grid square.
Yep.
Guys will ask you, not usually the grid square, but I have guys that are hunting counties and they often ask me what county.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And nowhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are rare square
So yeah, hunters do make the whole thing work. It really isn't fun calling CQ out there and there's nobody coming back. Lauren?
So, one of the things that I puzzled about, I've hunted some, but I'm not familiar with, what is the etiquette for, spotting?
Next slide. All right, so we try to spot ourselves. Okay, I have called CQ and have somebody from their office desk come back and say, you know, I just saw you, I'm answering your CQ, and I thought I'm doing a Parks on the Air. What's Parks on the Air? I don't have an hour and a half presentation time, so, you know, so I kind of did a quick overview, told them where to go, and I said, or if you just go to DX Summit and spot me on DX Summit as a POTA activator, that'd be great. And eventually, somebody will spot you, you know, and I've spotted quite a few people as a hunter. Yeah, Jim? Yeah, if you have cell phone coverage, you can do that.
So if somebody has already spotted you and I work you after the fact, is it appropriate to respot?
Yes, sir. Next couple slides. So, so again, you can just call CQ, follow that code of conduct, track your progress, see awards back there, and yeah, that's me. I have 2,000 parks. That's nothing. Don't think me contacting over 6 years, 2,000 different parks is good. What does IRP have?
It's over 10,000, 13,000.
13,000 parks. Parks. All right. So again, where do you go next? So again, there's all those England and the Netherlands. But as Lauren was talking about, this is the spotters page. So when you get on POTA.app, you click spots up here. And if you click spots, it'll all be populated with this. And you see, here's an individual at a park in Virginia and has been spotted 19 times, or bifocals 10 times. So what I do is when I work them, I respot them, and then that box becomes shaded, and this little box up here goes green with a check mark. So as I'm scrolling through, I know I've already worked that station. So that's really for me, I respot all the time, not to give a signal report, but for me to know I already worked that guy. Depends on how you have it sorted. Yeah, default. But my default, Lauren and I we talked about it. So I sort first by mode. Okay, oops, wait a minute. So by mode. So you can go just CW, you can go SSB. And that's what I do. All right?
Oh, so that's filtering that sort.
Well, that's a filter there by mode. Okay, and you can go by band if you want. You can go just 20 meters. You know, you can go by programs, which basically isn't much really. And then if somebody goes QRT, show that status. So down the bottom, if you scroll all the way down the bottom, there'll be shaded boxes with people who just went QRT. So if you were waiting, the guy had a 3.3 on reading you, try back later, you can't find them down in the QRT section. You'll see they went off the air. And then you can filter or sort by default is frequency. For me, is frequency. Because when I go back, I'm logged in up here. When I go back, it just comes up like this. But you can, so if I'm trying to find, I have Michael on Ham Alert also. If somebody else spots him and I see him come up on Ham Alert, I'll go to this page, sort by activator, and Kilo Zero Echo Zulu Echo comes up. I know he's at 14.255, you know, and I'll tune to that and see if I can get him. Or you can sort by mode, you can sort by park reference number, park name, spotter, what time, and that's like I said, the standard default is time. Once you put in your defaults, what you want, and you log in, it comes up how you last had it saved. So mine is always SSB and frequency. So I can start down at the bottom of the frequency and just dial up. So I'm here at 14218, 14240, 14250, and just tuning around that way.
Question.
Yep.
I've never gotten, I don't know where you set the defaults. I always have to go over there and pick whether it's so is there a way to set the default to sort their frequency?
You have to be logged in.
You have to be logged in.
If you're not logged in, it'll default to.
Yeah.
But when I'm logged in,
It'll sometimes.
So I never log out, so.
yeah, that's, okay, there's not a way to set
Yeah.
preferences or something.
No.
Okay. I've never seen that, so.
Yeah, so that's how you can go, and like I said, a lot of people respot, just give signal reports, other people respot like me, just to know I've worked that station, that park.
And you also know the guy's still there, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You see, down there somewhere is the last spot. And if you
Yeah.
see like 19 minutes, you probably sort of might think that he's gone QRT.
yeah, so instead of going to respot, go to the box on the right where there's the number count, you hit that and it'll show all the people who spotted them with the most recent at the top. And a lot of times you go to that number count, you'll see down the bottom, they're a threefer, and they'll have all the park numbers there. And you're having trouble hearing, you know, he might have a 2-2 signal into you, and you got one park, but you're not sure about the other ones. Fortunately, Michael and I have talked enough, we can like read each other's minds. Yeah, Jonathan?
So, Lauren asked a question about that, in the comments, typically you write like the signal report and state. What are the comments that you expect?
Good activator, threefer, and I like to say, if the guy's working multiple parks, I'll put in 5-5 Charlie Oscar, threefer, and add the other two parks. Because you're seeing the park number right up top, but not the other ones. Yeah, Jim?
If I'm in a place where I can spot myself, I will go there when I'm going QRT, and I will put down in the comments that I'm going QRT.
Yeah, yeah, you can spot yourself QRT.
I noticed that automatically telling.
Yeah,
That's correct.
that's correct, right.
You'll clear after 30 minutes of inactivity, you'll clear also.
Yeah, so that's there. So like I said, they've done a really good job.
So,
Through low rank.
as a hunter, do I really need to keep track of what parks it is? Because
No.
it's totally dependent on their log.
Correct.
They can submit.
Yeah, hunters do not have to log.
If you're logged in, you can go to your log on that app page and see what parts you have worked.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So I, as a matter of course, put every part in my comments, in my log. You don't have to do that.
yeah, yeah, and if you're, and if you're chasing things like Parks on the Air has worked all states, Parks on the Air with District of Columbia as a wild card. Okay, I had to work all states. I worked Hawaii and Alaska. You know, I got them as well as DC. So you can work all continents. You can work all entities like we were talking earlier. I worked Sable Island. They have one park. I got a certificate for worked all entities on Sable Island. And then I got one for, what was that one we said? I worked 10 different entities. So So I got a certificate for that. And then I sneezed and got a certificate for that. You know.
TCRAA has a member who's activated all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Nice.
Nice. Jonathan?
Yeah, when you upload the log, is it connected to QRZ.com like the other log?
It's an ADI, it's a ADIF file. So you have that file on your computer, go to QRZ, import ADIF file. Put it all there. Yeah, I do it. And then I also upload to Logbook of the World and then to Parks on the Air. Because I'm trying to get credit for everybody, you know, who's kind enough to chase me. So you really love it, you want to do it again. Again, here's all the social media if you want to get deeper. This was not a POTA activation, but that is Grand Teton National Park. It's across the river, and yes, you may run into wildlife. I did activate the Grand Canyon in January, and this is Yellowstone, not Old Faithful, but the guys are in back of Old Faithful. And then the Mojave Desert actually goes from Nevada to California. So I activated over here and then went behind that little stone monument and activated there. So I got that park in California and Nevada. So yeah, just go out and have fun. Now, real quick, do we need to take a break? Anybody need bathrooms or anything? Or just get through portable ops here in about 10 minutes? Go for it? Okay. So Parks on the Air is definitely portable operations. We're not going to talk about mobile. That's a whole another can of worms. But portable operations, naturally you're going to need power, a radio, antenna, and if you want, you can take a computer. So you might be able to get electricity available. So you're going to have to lug along a power source or inverter with you. Some pavilions do have electricity. This is me at Chaco Canyon, now Chaco Cultural Center, down in New Mexico. I did not have cell service. No, we're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I was in the middle. You were past there. And if you notice, this says area closed beyond this point. There's my Wolf River coil in front of the sign. Okay? So I'm a good little boy on that one. One thing, if you are hooked up to power in a pavilion at a park, you know, watch and make sure you don't get a voltage drop on that. You can also use a generator. Might have one in your camper. A lot of people use those. A lot of people have a whole, you know, ham set up inside their camper. You know, you could do that. Challenge with using a generator is they're noisy, smelly, irritate people around you in the park, and they are kind of unreliable, and it will generate RFI. It will get interference. That's because you're a Honda guy.
They're quiet and RFI is non.
Not everybody can afford a Honda generator. Most of us work on battery power, lithium ion phosphate, yeah, that thing. Here we go. So when I activate, I have been taking my Dakota lithium, all right, again, keeping the wife happy. There's that. Backpack has my FT891, has my clipboard, my log sheet, headsets in here. History Majors ground, so the FT891 will work on the roof rack. My map. I'm set up in 5 minutes. I'm ready to go with this ATAS antenna. All I have to do is screw it into the roof mount. I'm not messing around with the Wolf River coil anymore. It is my backup. I take it with me if we're on a long road trip, just because I'm having fun with the antennas, and you got to tune that to make sure. And at Hamvention, I got a deal. That's 20 amp battery, or 20 amp hours. This is 20 amp hours, and it's a BioNO. Stole it. I saved like $50 on that at Hamvention. No, that was last year to save the $15 in shipping.
I don't think you gained this year much.
No, not much. When we go to Hamvention, we make it a road trip because my wife has family everywhere. So we did 2,800 miles on it. Yeah, 2806.
I drove 28 miles.
Yeah, but you got lost.
And I didn't do.
No, I stayed out of town.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So this is just give you some comparisons with that lithium battery. Starts at 13.6 and runs till it gets down to about 2.8. I do have a monitor, so I know when my voltages are getting low. Okay, your sealed lead acid battery, which was the $65 battery versus the $180 battery, starts at 12.5 and it'll probably keep going till about 11.7. You can use the full capacity on the lithium ion. You use about 50% on your regular 12-volt lead acid. Lifespan is 1,000 cycles. The POTA lithium is warranted for 11 years, so that's a lot of recharging. And the BioNO is 10 years. Lifespan for a lead acid is 200 to 300 cycles, maybe 5 years. Oops. High capacity, you saw me pick it up with one hand, it's pretty nice. The lead acid, you can use as a boat anchor too. No, you pollute the water. Lowest total cost of ownership, lowest upfront cost with the lead acid. Safe with the new lithium ion iron phosphate. They don't have the risk that a typical lithium battery has. They're pretty safe. Regular lead acid can leak. So, solar extenders with 20 amp hours, I'm usually good. I've never run out of battery. And then just for safety's sake, when you get back to the hotel or condo, whatever we're staying in, I'll recharge it overnight just to be sure. But, I mean, you could always take solar panels and recharge them if you're in nowhere, Nevada.
Well, you're dependent too on the next slide. Each of those radios has an operating voltage. The one on the bottom will operate on next to nothing. And what do you got up top is a Yaesu? They're pretty good.
No, this is a FT891,
Yeah.
which is my new radio. That I got that ATAS for free from my Elmer gym. That was from a Silent Key, but I had to spend $600 for the radio to work it. The FT891. Okay. Small price to pay. Whereas the Elecraft, I know you're a shareholder in that and personal friends of the owner and president of the company. As you talked to him for how many hours? Mr. Elecraft. Okay. So some of the things you get with these radios, the 891, especially, I mean, I love my 7300, and I use that up until December, really, up until December of last year on all my POTA activations. You know, you got a built-in tuner, you can have built-in CW keyers, If you go do digital, you got PC interfaces. It's really a shack in a box. All else equal, increased power works better than QRP. And a friend of mine once said, life's too short for QRP. Did I get that quote right?
How far you have to make it.
Yeah. So just remember, it's the effective radiated power that counts. So again, use a radio that you're willing to use outside. And outside means bugs, bug spray, top-heavy insulated coffee cup. So my 7300, I bought this little case box, not a Pelican case, but a cheapy case from Harbor Freight, and just picked out everything, and that's, stores it real nice. Again, any antenna will work. Okay? Don't worry about perfect. Don't get analysis paralysis. You get the most oft discussed topic in ham radio is, what's the best radio? What's the best antenna? First it was the best radio. Now it's, what's the best antenna for this? What can I use this? What's lightweight? It's not so much lightweight. And whatever antenna you have, to me, that's just fun of doing parks on the air. That ATS antenna was a godsend. After 52 years, still no divorce. You may have thought to kill me a couple times, but still no divorce. Remember the footprint. With that Wolf River coil, I've cut down the radial to 15 feet from 30 feet. So I'm not taking up a lot of places. I had them 30 feet out, parked at Blue Mesa Reservoir, figuring it's November, nobody will be here. 17 vehicles ran over my radios, despite the little orange flags. So it's fun. Again, deployment time, what's the ease, to get your antenna up? Takeoff angle probably matters. Okay. The reason I will not be at the 4th of July parade is I will be at our vacation home in Ouray. Takeoff angle matters. All right? So our house is here, and the trail up to the Compadre campground is here. However, I can go up this $1 Million Highway and go right in there, or there's actually another road here that gets to the Compadre National Forest campground. I'm pretty well blocked by the amphitheater over here. That's on the east side of Ouray. The west side of Ouray looks pretty much the same. Come on, I got here. So what happens is your signal goes to the north up Highway 550, and boy, do I get Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Canada, every other, but if I go 15 miles north to Ridgeway State Park, I get Texas, I'll work 13 colonies over 4th of July weekend from Ridgeway State Park. So, yeah, remember takeoff angle, what you can do. Power handling, durability, aesthetics, you're a guest at the park, so is everybody else. You're there to have fun, so is everybody else. Be nice. Mobile setups work, mag mounts work. I have 2 good friends who lent me their ham sticks last year, and I worked mag mounts with that, on 20 and 40 meters, real quick, nice and easy, screw on, screw off. But now I have a 2023 Lincoln Navigator that has a glass roof, so everything goes on the roof rack. Mag mounts don't work, and it's an aluminum vehicle. So you can work from a picnic bench too. This is me at the Bosque de Oso State Wildlife Area with my ATS antenna. And I think it was about 12 below zero. So I didn't see any elk, but I was activating POTA. Faraday cloth works well. You can work that with a mag mount. You know, SWR has, you know, works off the ground plane. You want contact with Earth is your goal. Experiment. There's a guy, go on YouTube and put in search for POTA. Your computer will crash. I mean, it is so many people out there. There's a guy, I can't name his call sign. He's Mike out of
W0TLM Ham Solo on YouTube.
Yeah.
He will do guardrails and make anything.
And
Statues,
yeah, bronze statues. Yeah, yeah,
saxophone.
yeah. And there's another guy, Mike out of Wisconsin, who does a window screen. And that's on a YouTube video. And he actually filmed Stu at Hamvention and put it on his YouTube site. And I forget his call sign too, but really a nice guy. He does a lot of POTA. Yeah. Again, tripod, base, self-supporting works well. Wolf River coil. You can get a buddy pole or bring along your puppy. Kimber works well. You don't worry about RF and her, huh? Okay. but yeah, that was my Wolf River coil. I got sandbags for mine now because, like in Ouray, wind comes down that canyon. I'm calling CQ. I'm talking to people. Antenna's at my back, or I'm at the picnic bench. All of a sudden, my screen's blank again. I look over. There's the antenna. All right, Wolf River coil's really good. I said it was my first POTA antenna. I get a real good SWR on that. I think they have fixed this problem. If you put probably over 100 watts, it'll melt. You know, but I don't go above 100 watts, so I'm not worried. Some other resident multi-band antennas, good DIY projects. You know, the ARRL NFED half wave is great. You got a link dipole there. The DX Commander is a multi-band radio. You know, that's why I like the NFED half waves are multi-band. Wolf River coil, I have a second collar, so I get 20 and 40 on it. The ATAS works all bands.
No, doesn't work 80, 40 and up.
Okay. Keep going. Works all the bands I work. So, NFED half waves, you do that. Generally multi-band, although they need a little bit of tuning. It is a good low footprint, especially if it's deployed. Most of the time, they're allowed to use in a tree. Most of the time, if you use a black wire, nobody can see it up over into the tree. You know, 14 gauge wire for NFED half wave, you're at the back end of the parking lot, nobody's going to see you. And then arbors, little toss there, you can manually toss over a tree branch. Or have a friend that is a launcher par extraordinaire that will get that little beanbag up over the tree branch. But happiness is being able to wind up that NFED half wave. I don't know how he keeps twisting. No problem, we got it. Antenna mast, popular when there are no trees, like you're in the middle of nowhere. Easier to achieve height to get out of wherever you're at, and a straightforward option for running multiple elements, that's for sure.
You can also use it with crop bars into a tree, so that way a ranger can't come say, don't attach these to trees. It's not attached.
It's attached to
It's
a pole.
just leaving there.
So that's a good idea. There's ways around. And I'm sure a friendly ranger probably suggested that rather than going over that. If you lean it up, I don't have any problem, right?
Yeah, it was another
Oh, okay. Guy ropes work. They aren't really the pain that you might think. Hitch mounts are very popular. And you can have this, this is not a hitch mount, the white one, that's a drive on. So you park right on top of that and you put your mast in there. Still my favorite picture, oops. Still my favorite picture.
The one and only picture I took that day.
Because that is a hitch mount, and it was a handmade, homemade hitch mount. Right, Tim? You made it.
Yes.
How long is that mast?
If it's fully extended, I think it's 30 feet. It's on purpose not fully extended there, because what you can't see is I'm surrounded by mountains.
Yeah, they're over here.
On purpose put that in bed low to go in this.
So, and I don't know if you can see, but here's that wire. Here's that snowbank up to the hood of the car.
You can see the unend down at the bottom.
Yep.
Yep, there you go.
It's a fence post, it's a fiberglass fence post that's supporting the unend to keep it out of the snow. Just barely.
Down there. And you trekked through all that snow.
I sure did. Twice.
Because Tim wasn't there to go do it for you, right?
Correct. Yep, completely worth it.
It was a fun activation when I was talking to her, and she goes, "You're not going to believe this snow."
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And you needed that kind of a truck to get there and to get out, because
Yeah.
it snowed all day and they did not plow that road.
So, we did mention earlier computers in the field. They really are optional unless you want to do digital modes. A lot of people I know that I contact, you will develop people who know your call sign. You will develop, call signs. A lot of people do electronic logging. So, they'll put you in QRZ or some kind of logging program, and they'll have all your information. So I know I have a good contact when they call me by name, at least, on that. Again, issues with your computer if you want to take it out in the field, bug spray, bears, moose droppings when you're walking through the parking lot, snow blizzard, rain, wind, all that. So the challenges you have are, typical if you ever took an iPad or anything out to the field. Last piece of advice, learn POTA in steps. If you can, visit the place you're going to activate before you actually go there. Use Google Earth. Go check it out. I actually went to Google Earth after I spotted, exit 218, and there's a parking lot right there. And it's a twofer. I'm there. So, set up your kit in your backyard. Take it, try it, see if it works. When you're first going out, highly encourage you to make a checklist. I've never forgotten anything that I didn't find later. Yeah, so the checklist for me really works well. I'm getting better at remembering my log sheets.
Use any scrap of paper that has to be on the truck.
But
Did you fish it without coax one
Yes.
time?
yeah, somebody forgot coax. Yeah.
We were both involved in that.
Yeah.
But you found something.
So it was the KX3 that I had. So in the KX3 pile of cables, I had several little pouch cords, and that added up to, I think we measured it at 2.5 feet of coax. So to deploy the infed, we put the unend right next to the radio, and then that determined where the infed was going.
See, it's having fun.
The upside is we had a choke, because the RFI with the unend right next to the radio was not great.
Yeah, so for your first couple of activations, stay close to home, make sure the weather's good. Not so much recently, but, you know, we do get thunderstorms here in the afternoons. So early morning ones are good to go to. So again, people just love it. Social media. You can get on the Parks on the Air group on Facebook. Don't ask me because I don't do that. And finally now, official stats. I'll go through these real quick. So, as you can see, from 2022 to May, this presentation was done last month, of 2024, we've gone from 20,000 to over 55,000 accounts, people that are signed up on Parks on the Air. Activators, the count was about 6,000 in 2022. Now in 2024, there's been over 21,000 individual activators that have turned logs in. This is kind of a confusing slide because, well, how are the hunters so much more than those that are registered on accounts? So they can exceed the registered number because you don't have to have an account to hunt. And those hunters' call signs are being put in by the POTA activator. Hunters don't have to log, right? And some may be duplicates. They, you know, I'm not sure quite how they went, but going from 300,000 to 580,000 hunters in 2 years, or 18 months, basically, is significant. Then John talked about entities, and the parks went from 15,000 originally to 20,000 to 29,000 entities, which are those overseas areas, okay? Parks in the Philippines, parks in Puerto Rico, went from 71 to 96 to 133,000. So the growth of POTA is definitely tied to what John mentioned, those new DX entities. You know,
because in different countries, the coordinators can not just say, oh, it has to be a state or national park.
yeah,
They have more options.
more options out there. Yeah. But, and of course, a lot of it is to the all-time new ones when there's area coordinators that you can suggest, I have a state wildlife area that is not on the POTA website. You know, can you check this out? And they did that. So they kept them for several years. And over the last year, 2 years, they just came out with all these all-time new parks. This is, to me, the most significant. QSOs, people talking back and forth. Through 2016 to 2021, 3,500,000. 5 months this year, 26,289,000 QSOs. That's a pile of pileups. Okay? And then, you know, here's a little pie chart, shows, you know, this year to date is over 50% of all the QSOs through time. So we're really, really growing at a rapid rate. So, any questions from anybody? Ah, you guys read? Thanks. Thanks. Again, thanks to Parks on the Air for letting me be able to use their presentation.